beautiful V6s are back and roaring away. Welcome back everyone to the stream. Welcome back to TTL F1. This is of course season number 14, round 5, the Austrian Grand Prix. And if you're rejoining us back to the stream, a very welcome back to you on this miserable qualifying session. Andy joins me in the box. Andy, did I miss anything as I had to restart everything there?
Not too much, no. It's still D.L. Warren at the top in the Renault. He's back into pit lane at the moment. He's about 2 times clear of White in second. T-Ro's put himself up into third place. Spike's done 4 laps now, but he's finally got himself up into 4th place, so just building himself up as he goes along. We're still waiting on lap times from Charlie, Maze, Iceman, Lighty and George. 3 of them are out in track 2 and I'm still in pit lane. And Alan Case had a couple of, he had that off at turn 1 before the stream finished up. He had another one the very next lap just after the stream finished, so he's popped it into pit lane and staying out of the way for the moment. But again, like I said last week, he's doing the best he can. He's been learning obviously the no assists, and I know from the fact that I'm doing no assists myself when I'm playing in the rain, it's not easy at all. I'm not enjoying it in the rain trying to do no assists, but so try to do it in a league race. You know, I've got utmost respect for Alan trying that one.
Absolutely, we've got multiple drivers out there setting a lap time. We've got Charlie, we've got Iceman, we've also got George out there on a flying lap. And of course the Racing Point cars have been having a really good time recently, especially Lyronics. Racing Point are of course top of the constructor standings. Lyronics currently leads the driver standings by 17 points. And he missed out on F2 last time round because he was having surgery. So he's back now in the car and ready to get back into the car, and all is well for Lyronics, so it's great to see him back.
Yeah, definitely. He was tweeting earlier on when we were advertising tonight's proceedings that he was looking forward to getting back in the car. He's just crossed over the line now, currently in 9th position, yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3. I wonder if that's Easy, who went off in sector 2, just getting back underway and being a bit slow as in our yellow flag sector 2. It might have been Iceman maybe, I'm not too sure, but it's tricky conditions out there. Drivers are pushing it, 7.5 minutes to go, and there's, well, the majority of drivers out on track, excuse me, at the moment. Only 5 drivers still in pit lane at the moment. Everybody's on a flying lap except for T-Raw and Spike. YT's just came out of pit lane as well, so most of the drivers on track now, so no wonder we're getting yellow flags all around. The drivers trying to stay out of the way on this short track. You mentioned it earlier, it's 4.318 kilometres, that's 2.683 miles for those who don't deal in kilometres. Either way, it is one of the shorter tracks on the calendar. Of course the shortest is Monaco, but we all knew that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the only tracks on the calendar. In fact, it's the only track on the calendar that goes underneath the 300-kilometre race distance rule. It actually stands at 260 kilometres because the track is so short and the average speed is so low that they decided, you know what, we should probably shorten the race a little bit.
Can you imagine 100 laps in Monaco? Oh, jeez, no. Lyronics just popped himself up into P3. Crazy Legs has just gone across and moved himself up into 7th, so we've got an all-Haas row 4 at the moment, which Yuzi has now just plonked himself in the middle. Toro Rosso meeting a Haas sandwich. 6 minutes to go. It's still looking good at the moment for Warren. Mays has got himself back into the session, thankfully. I've just seen him drop out there, but he's now back into the lobby, which is fantastic. But that lap time, 1:13.4, looking pretty decent at the moment. Still 2 times clear off White in the Red Bull on a 13.7, so it's looking good at the moment for Warren, and who knows, maybe a maiden pole position.
White just goes quickest then, 1:13.1 there in the Red Bull.
It's a commentator's curse.
You keep doing that, Andy. Lots of support for Recon tonight. Wilco in the chat there says the reign of Lyronics is over. Recon is back from his holiday. So big words there. Lyronics currently in 3rd place there, as we've got a car spun out there just on the start-finish rate. I wonder if that's Alan Kay. It is Alan Kay there. Who's just spun off there at the final corner, and as you say, Andy, it's treacherous in these conditions, especially with no traction control whatsoever, and he's having a hard time actually trying to join back onto the circuit because so many people are out on track.
Yeah, and Graham's just done the same thing out of turn 1. He's managed to keep it pointing in the right direction, but he ended up on the grass, losing it out of turn 1. Crazy Legs is retired out of the session, so I think something's happened out on track with him possibly. But yeah, the yellow flags everywhere around the track. A lot of drivers out there, and it's one of those ones where the intermediate sometimes just running around doing lap after lap, let the fuel burn off a bit, will work out well for you. You know, you start to get a bit more comfortable with the track. You get to know where the worst of the puddles are, where the worst of the water build up is, and you know, we've seen Spike on his first run. He done 4 laps before he got himself up to what is now P6. It was P4 or 3, I think it was earlier on. So, you know, sometimes just being out there running around is the best thing to do. And with 4 minutes to go, I'm expecting the other 4 drivers that are in pit lane will probably be back out before long. Gypsy George running a bit slowly at the moment through Sector 2. He's just trying to stay out of the way of everybody, and I'm guessing that yellow flag that just disappeared in Sector 3 would have been where Crazy Legs' car was. Possibly Recon also out of the session as well now, so he's going to be no better than 9th in this session. So his fans are here. We had a lot of people last week. I don't know if you watched back here. We had up to 20 people at one point watching last week, and I think that about 3/4 of them were Portuguese, cheering on Fate Benfica, who's unfortunately had to drop out of the league because he can't fully commit the time at the moment with his real life situations. But the chat was going crazy last week, and hopefully Recon's fans can make up for that loss tonight. That would be great, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Let us know who the flag is flying for you tonight as Troy makes his way up towards turn 3 there on the slowest parts of the track here. And so we drop all the way down to sort of 38 miles per hour as Troy's really trying to get that traction there nailed down out of turn 3, now down to the braking zone of turn 4, which, as Andy said on his hot lap there in the first part of the stream, with no engine noise whatsoever, is a very difficult braking zone. It's difficult in the dry, let alone the wet, as now Troy makes his way in towards turn 6, this left-hander here, where you can try and carry a little bit more speed through there in the dry, but watch out for these curbs. They can bite back if you take them too much or if you're too aggressive with them, but it looks like Troy here is backing off of this lap and making his way back towards the pit lane. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Lighty here is now making his way around the final corner. Seems to be struggling in those final 2 corners. Here he comes in towards the line. Can he better his lap time at the moment? No, 2/10 slower for the McLaren driver, so he stays in P10. We've got Iceman here in the Red Bull making his way now around the final 2 corners, and it looks like he's coming into the pits now. Well, in the race, that's going to be investigated because Iceman didn't commit to that racing line there that you've got to take before the pit lane, so he's got to be careful about doing that in the race. Here comes Mays then in the Ferrari, disconnected from the lead, rejoined now, and currently in 16th place, having not set a lap time right now. Around the final corner he goes, and let's see what sort of lap time he can put down on the board as he makes his way towards the start-finish line.
He's had a spin in Sector 2. Yeah, he's had a mistake. I just caught the end as he was recovering. The yellow flag in Sector 2 was Mays, and it was up at turn 6, I think. So I think he's maybe swapped ends in the car because he was going pretty slowly heading down the hill towards 7 and 8. So that's definitely not a fully representative time at the moment from the Ferrari driver, nearly 12 seconds down just now. We've got everybody except for the drivers out and 2 others out on track. Sean's not out on track, neither is Iceman, and we have 1:20 to go. They're not going to get round in enough time to start a lap, so they're not going to improve on 4th and 12th respectively. Everyone else that's still in the session is out on the track at the moment. Can anyone, as Sean retires because he is in pit lane, anyone beat White's time? 1:13.1. Spike's just put himself up into 4th place there with his latest lap time with exactly a minute to go. Can anybody maybe dip into the 1:12s and take the pole position away from the Red Bull? Be interested to see in this final stages of the session.
Warren's out there at turn 4. You got White there, who's just coming towards the start-finish line to start a new flying lap in towards turn 1. This is his last chance there. Spike also on a lap coming out of turn 3. He's still in hot lap mode, so he's still going to go for it here. Troy now making his way through turn 3 here, also in hot lap mode, but the battery looks a little depleted. Yuzi here, also in hot lap mode, looking to try and better his 8th place so far. Lighty looks like he's in low fuel mode, so he will not be able to... oh, that was dangerous there as Lighty tried to get out of the way, and Spike there just had to... maybe did he take avoiding action there? That might have put him off for his lap time here, but we're going to ride on board with the Mercedes driver. Oh, he loses the back end out of turn 8. that could be the difference between second row of the grid and third row of the grid. You never know, as he makes his way now through the final corners, drifting his way through turn 9 and across now towards the start-finish line, out of the final corner. Last time's out, race winner. Can he improve? No, 3/10 slower, so those little bits of loss at back end there have cost him. Warren out there now, still out there, and I think he's completed the lap. He hasn't improved. Here comes White now. Can he get into the 1:12 then as he makes his way towards the start finish line? White here making his way across the line. He improves a 1:13.0 and puts himself at the top of the table. Lyronix is off then at turn 8. So Lyronix is going to improve no further than third place. We've got Mays and Alan Kay who are also out on track then. Let's see what the Ferrari driver can do then. Alan Kay out there just coming around the final corner now. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve on his lap
Warren's
time?
away. Warren's away, same bit as Lyronix, too much curb on the inside the turn 8, and he's done the exact same thing. He was on a quick lap, he was up on his best sector 2 time as well, and he's just threw it all away in the last moments there. Sorry to cut across.
No, you're absolutely fine. I'd rather someone cut across to get in some of the action. But Warren there on his debut can't argue with second place whatsoever. But pole position will go to Red Bull, and it will be White taking that pole position.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic lap there, just at the death, just to get that little bit extra out of the way. Warren did improve and got closer to on a 10th, just over a 10th in it, but he was up on his sector 2 time. I just jumped on board as he came through 6 and 7, and then coming through 8, he took too much carb on the inside at 8, and the rear end just did not agree and just went, nah, I'm going round, and that was it. And I think I caught the end of Lyronix when he was in the gravel. I think that's pretty much probably what he did as well. So very tricky conditions out there. You pointed out the curbs are going to be extremely hard to, in these conditions, and it's just proved it there as the drivers just push a little bit too much. But White in pole position. Warren will be happy with second, front row in his debut for TTL F1, and your championship leader in third with Spike, second in the championship, sharing the front row with his championship rivals. This is going to be a tasty turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it as White there, 4th in the championship on 34 points. He could really, really do with that points boost heading up towards the race. But the man on pole position in this wet Austrian qualifying, White for Red Bull on the front row.
Yeah, definitely so. And obviously he's had some really good pace. We've seen some good pace out of him in Spain, Catalonia 2 rounds ago. He was even on pole position there as well, just unable to convert it into a race victory, but hoping to do better here tonight. So it's White on pole, well, 1:13.0 in this wet session. Warren in second for Renault, 1/10 down. Then it's Lyronix and Spike, your championship top 2, sharing the second row. Sean in 5th for Ferrari. T-Row and McLaren, another impressive showing after last week in Canada, in 6th. Those are the only guys to get within a second, and it's Crazy Legs, Yuzi, Recon, Lighty rounding out the top 10, Charlie, Iceman, George, Graham, Alan Kay and Mays rounding out the field of 16. Because it's been a wet session though, 3 choice of tyres, and it is a dry race, this is going to be interesting to see who goes on what tyre. We've seen some good strategies already this season. I'm thinking Spike at Catalonia. We've seen last week as well in Canada, we've seen some interesting tyre choices, some 1 and 2 stop strategies. Jack making the 1 stop work, starting on the hard tyres. So who's going to be rolling the dice tonight, and who's going to come out trumped looking like James Vole did at Hungary, getting Hamilton the victory on Sunday? Who's going to pull off that master stroke here tonight?
Absolutely. Just looking over the chat then, Lyronix was reacting to someone earlier. The reign of Lyronix is over. I never had a reign. But yeah, Recon reporting on qualifying. He spun and crashed. It just came back and it's wet. So that helps, he says. Dylan Warren in the chat. Second place in qualifying. Says he'll be happy with top 7. I think he'd be ecstatic with top 7. I think he'd be ecstatic with his qualifying alone, Andy.
Hey, put yourself in second position, you've got every chance of getting yourself on the podium. You never know. It depends how he feels about his dry pace in comparison. It's just a tricky one to figure out. But as we head off onto the formation lap, let's have a look at those tyres. Now, compounds are, the hard's the C2, the medium is the C3, and the soft is the C4, so it's the sort of middle compounds for us here. The top 4 have all gone for the medium tyres, and then you've got Sean T-Rock, Crazy Legs, Uzi and Recon have all gone for the soft compound tyre. Lighty, Charlie and Iceman have gone for the mediums as well. George in 13th in the Williams, the only driver to go for the hard compound tyre in this early opening stint, with Graham and Nays going with soft and Alan Kay splitting the two of them on the medium tyres. Just need to point out as well, for anybody who has been watching across the start of the season, obviously Iceman now in the Renault, the Red Bull, sorry, not the Renault. He was in the Williams last week, remember. He got promoted up after we lost the other Red Bull driver who had been in the seat and didn't show up, basically. So he got promoted up from Williams to Red Bull, and he's now got a chance to try and prove that that promotion was definitely worthwhile. But his teammates on pole position, and it's all, you know, when you look at it that way, it's almost Verstappen and Gasly-esque, but we know Iceman can be quick when he needs to be, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do from 12th.
Absolutely, I'm thinking the Toro Rosso drivers of Uzi and Graham will be feeling a little disgruntled about that transfer. However, it's been done now. Iceman is in the Red Bull and starting down in 12th place. Meanwhile, his teammate White, 4th in the championship, pole position for him right now. And as we say, it's a very short lap here in Austria. We're about to get underway for 36 laps here in Spielberg. And the hills are not alive with the sound of anything just yet, and that is the last time I will ever use that pun ever again. But we're almost ready to go here in Spielberg for round number 5 here of TTL F1, as we are about to see those 5 red lights count up. And here we are then for the Austrian Grand Prix. 5 red lights. Round 5 is underway, and what are the starts like? It's a fantastic start from the Haas in the background there, and it's a fantastic start for White as well. Look at Spike then, trying to make it 3 wide in towards the inside of turn 1 there. Has to back out of it. Lyronix in the Racing Point, forced off the track there, 3 wide. He has to take evasive action, and Warren there has lost a place on the start. But meanwhile, there's a gaggle of cars behind him as White looks to just try and get away. Warren trying to defend the inside line, then braking as late as he possibly dares. And there's a little bit of a tag there from Draw on Lyronix. Spike's lost out big time out of turn 3 as well. Recon gets himself a 5-second stop-go penalty for cutting a corner and gaining 1 place. Lyronix and Warren then battling down towards turn 4 now, and that is Spike then looking to make a recovery drive now as he's trying to go side by side with Sean now, but he's lost out on those soft tyres as well, on those medium tyres I should say, as he's lost out big time here. Started 4th, now down to 6th place. Meanwhile, Recon in 8th place there is struggling as well. He's just 8th place, stuck behind Uzi at the moment as we make our way now through 7 and then through turn 8. But he's got a really good exit now on the run now towards turn 9. He's on the inside now, not really an overtaking opportunity, but I don't think Recon's seen the memo, but he has. He's backed out of it just at the last possible second there, as we have got a driver in. It looks like it's a Haas, and it looks like Crazy Legs who's come into the pits then on the very first lap. But after the very first lap here, White is leading. He's already got a 1.7 second lead over Lyronix. It's Warren in 3rd, and then here comes Straw then in 4th place in the McLaren. Side by side they go. 2 Renault-powered cars making their way now up towards turn 3 with the McLaren on the outside. Warren trying to defend the inside line. You see there, they're giving each other plenty of space, but Warren on the soft tyres, on those Red Bull soft tyres, getting better traction out of turn 3. On the run now down towards turn 4. They're still side by side, the two of them. And now, Draw trying to go round the outside, and he's made the move stick. Great move from the McLaren driver, and he moves up to 3rd place. A dramatic, crazy start, but all drivers are facing the right way.
Yeah, Crazy Legs into the pits. He had a change of front wing, so he's always had a knock somewhere within that opening lap. He's now made a pit stop. He's onto the hard tyres. He'll try and go as long as possible. He'll be hard pushed to get them to the end of the race. Just been watching Graham battling with George all the way up towards turn 3 and through to turn 4.
Oh,
sort of also getting through up the 11th.
Big moment there for Recon in towards turn 9. He just about held onto the car there, but it was a big moment. Heart rate will have gone up a little bit there as he's trying to chase down Uzi as they make their way now up towards turn 1 for the 3rd time. Then DRS will be enabled, and Recon just missing his braking point slightly and almost ran into the back of Uzi. Again had to take evasive action. I wonder if there's just a little bit of pressure on Recon here to try and make these soft tyres work when he knows that Uzi and Spike ahead of him maybe don't have the tyres. Of course Uzi's on the same tyres, but he'll want to try and get past Spike on those medium tyres, as I'm hearing a couple of low range revs there. I thought someone had spun it, but then I realised turn 3 is a very slow corner. But running on board with Light E then, heading now down towards turn 4 as he looks to try and close in on Charlie. We've also got George there and Graham battling in towards turn 4, just about giving each other the room. Remember, George is on the hard tyres, the hardest tyre this track has to offer. He's on the outside at turn 6, really trying to make this move stick through turn 7 there. But no, he can't quite do it. Those hard tyres just don't have the grip to battle with that Toro Rosso. But fair play to him for having a go. But the move was ended really at turn 6.
Yeah, he's pushing along there, trying his best to keep up. He's wanting to stay as close as possible, get those tyres running. Up at the front, T-Ro's closing into the back of Lyronics. Now, obviously, you mentioned White had managed to get away pretty quickly in the opening stages of the race. Well, that gap is nearly within DRS range now for Lyronics and T-Ro's. T-Ro sticks the McLaren, looked like he was going to look up the inside into the turn as Recon goes up the inside to Yuzi, but Yuzi's going to take the cutback now on the Haas down towards turn 4. It's a tricky braking zone downhill for both of them. Recon's got the advantage at the moment and they've both got DRS, but the Haas has got it done and the Dutchman is through into 7th position. You know, those in the soft tyres will be wanting to push as much as they can because they're not going to last for too long. Warren was in the chat before the race saying that he expects it'll be about 20 laps for the medium tyres. We get a yellow flag somewhere in sector 2 up. It's Alan Kay. And George is off the track, so his good start has gone wrong. Alan Kay was slow away, so I don't know if they had contact with each other or if George has gone off and Alan's just been caught up in it on the way out of the corner. Looking at the cars, everything looks okay on both of them. Recon with the fastest lap of the race, and I don't think there's any damage to either of those two cars as Spike picks up a penalty. I'm doing my best to keep up with these penalties, but they're flying in at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just stay focused on the racing if that's okay with you, Andy. As Troy is trying to close that gap now down towards third place of Warren. Meanwhile, Spike is really trying to put that pressure on for Sean. There's a battle here for 9th place as Light E goes up the inside at turn 3 and Light E gets the move done. Up to 9th place he goes. Charlie's got to be careful now because it's Graham right behind him in the slipstream and with the DRS down towards turn 4. He'll move to the right hand side and he'll try and brake later here. He's got the inside of the corner and he gets the position. So Charlie, in the space of a couple of corners, has lost 2 positions there. He is on the medium tyres, so Graham there may have just been a bit of a lost cause to battle there, but Graham is now up to 10th place and now he's got his sights set on in the McLaren ahead of him. Meanwhile, Spike is still trying to close in on Sean. He's sticking to the back of him right now on these medium tyres. Now we know Spike, he likes to drive to a delta. Whatever that delta is, he's trying to stick to it and it's helping him keep up with Sean as he makes his way up towards turn 1 as he looks to try and close that gap and maybe put a little bit of pressure on the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, definitely so, but he's going to have to be careful because look at that Haas in behind on the soft tyres. That's Recon who fancies a move. So while Spike's trying to line Sean up into turn 3 and going up the inside with a nice little late braking move, squeezing the Ferrari to the outside line and gets the move done, Recon's going to try and pick up any scraps here in that Haas. And he's on right onto the back here of the Ferrari, up the inside into turn number 4, late on the brakes, uses the curb, a bit of a drift on the way through. Thought he was in the Fast and the Furious there, now still side by side, coming up towards turn 6. Sean's now got the inside line, but you can sweep round the outside if you feel you've got the grip. There's plenty of curbing there into turn 7 and a half. Finally gets that move done. It took 3 corners to get that done, but it just shows you how close all these guys are up towards the front. We can, at one point we're basically seeing 2nd through to 7th all in the one screenshot. Sean losing out 2 places there as we move on to lap 6. So Graham's made up 4 places off the start. The biggest loser is Crazy Legs after having to pit on lap 1, down 8 places, and George has just came into pit lane as well for a change of tyres, which is not what he wanted starting on the hard tyres. So he must have had some damage that he was trying to keep for a bit later to try and keep going, but he obviously couldn't do so.
Warren here looking to put some big pressure on, and that Spike going for a late move up the inside, makes contact though with Troll. A very late call there from the Mercedes driver, and that might cost him a little bit of time to Recon here. He's right in his slipstream with the DRS down towards turn 4. Will Recon go for a move? He's trying to go round the outside here, might have carried a little bit too much speed through the corner, and he has, and slightly lose the back end on the exit as well. Couldn't quite make that one stick. He saw the opportunity there. That's rare from Spike to go for a move like that though, and it cost him time, but luckily for him, not the position.
No, definitely not. Usually Spike's a lot more conservative in a good way. You know, he picks his battles when he needs to, but with these guys being so close together, as I say, second through to seventh are covered by about a second and a half. You can see them pretty much in the one screenshot almost in certain camera angles. He's maybe feeling he needs to push it as George is out of the race now. It's sector one. I'm going to jump on board with Spike since we're following this lot. Yellow flag. Yep, car's off to the right hand side, so he's lost it on the exit of one, and it's spun him across the track and into the wall, and George becomes the first retirement from the race, and it just went from bad to worse. We don't know what happened. He went off at turn 4 and then had to make a pit stop, which I'm guessing would have been for wing damage, and now completely out of the race. Meanwhile, Warren though has got a run on Lyronics coming down towards turn 4. This is for second on the road, and the Renault easily slips by. Lyronics took the inside line. Warren quite happily to take the outside racing line. Thank you very much. Up into second place he goes down the field. Charlie and Nexus Iceman having a battle as well. Iceman getting the move done on the Alpha, and that Alpha's going backwards a lot quicker than a stone being chucked into the sea and dropping to the ocean floor at the moment, so he'll be trying to pick his pace up. If he had moved up a number of places in lap 1, he's all the way down to 12th place again now, but can anyone make inroads on that Red Bull or white up front? It's 1.5 seconds, and it's been pretty consistent pretty much since lap 1 almost of this race. Meanwhile, Spike now right onto the back of T-Roy. He's really fully onto the gearbox there, but he's not going to get much done into turn 1. It's a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. We'll inspect that shortly and see what's going on, but keeping an eye on this, you can see Spike lost a lot of ground through turn 1 there. That's allowed T-Roy the chance to attack on Lyronics instead, but no dice for either of those as we go on to lap 9. Graham picks up another penalty as well. That's his second of the race. A few drivers, in fact it's both Toro Rossos, have already got 2 3-second time penalties. Recon, remember, has got a 5-second time penalty for cutting the corner and gaining one place. That happened on lap 1, but I'll keep an eye on them as the race goes on.
Here is Lyronics and Draw battling away in towards turn 6 they go, and Lyronics just has the edge there and is able to stay ahead. Of course, Recon's 5-second penalty will be served at his next pit stop, so he'll be held for 5 seconds of course before the team can work on the car, but he's trying to get full advantage of that. Look at that speed he was carrying through turn 9 there on the exit. Almost didn't expect it and was quickly closing up on Spike. Had to take evasive action by basically coming off the loud pedal, but in towards turn 1 they go. Recon knows he's got the speed, he knows he's got the grip, but there's nowhere he's able to use it right now, so this is the frustrating thing for him. What can he do?
It's a very tricky one. You don't want to be chucking it up the inside and then risking losing your front wing. There's not going to be many laps left in those soft tyres either. You know, they're going to be
made a mistake.
Pretty long.
Sorry to cut over you there, but Traw made a mistake, lost the back end out of turn 3, and Spike says, thank you very much, I'll take that position away from you. So Spike now up to 4th place, Traw into 5th, and look at that. There is Recon there trying a move up the inside at turn 4, and sometimes when you go for those half-hearted moves like that, it can end in tears. Luckily for Recon though, it only meant he went onto the curb and caught a little bit of grass. Sorry to cut over you there, Andy.
No, that's perfect. It's not a problem at all, because I was watching just behind them, so I didn't quite see that happening in front of me until you shouted it. One thing I have just spotted though while you were discussing that action, Warren's now within DRS range on white. He's pulled a 2.5 seconds clear of Lyronics, so these two seem to have a bit of extra speed that the rest of them just don't seem to have in this early stage of this race, and they're disappearing up the road slightly. He's came into pit lane, so he's the first of the soft runners to blink down in 8th position. We'll see where he comes back out on track shortly, but Warren has got the DRS and that gap is now 0.5 seconds. I mean, you can see it there. You don't need me to tell you what the time is because it's right in front of you as YT and Alan pick up time penalties now. So it's another few. Recon's just gone past Hero as well, but the McLaren's fighting back down towards turn number 4, and it's McLaren that's got the DRS. Can he hold the position into turn 4? Tricky braking zone, side by side, the two of them go. McLaren's just going to squeeze the Haas slightly to the outside, and Recon has to back out of it and pull back in behind, but he's going to dive up the inside into turn 6. That's not really an overtaking position, but he's had a go at it there. Needs to be careful with some of these moves, as you say. The half-hearted moves are the ones that usually end in tears, and if you're going to do it, you want to make sure you stick it right. You need to keep an eye though as well with the drivers, as you said in qualifying, when they're coming into pit lane, they need to follow the white line from the start to the finish. They cannot cross it, just like it would be if they were coming from the pit exit as well. It will be penalised if that is picked up on either through our view here that we're watching on the stream or through any point of views that the drivers put into the stewards, as Recon gets a better exit and DRS up towards turn 2 and 3. And well, that was like taking candy from a baby. T-Roll completely defenceless because he didn't have the DRS off the cars ahead to help defend against the Haas.
Might get another opportunity here down towards turn 4. We're just going to have a jump on board with Spike then, because this is the battle for third place in this race. Spike up the inside of Lyronix then, and he's got the position. Spike then up into the podium places, and Lyronix drops down to 4th place at this moment in time in the Racing Point car. So a lot of battles emerging off and down the field. You've got the battle for the lead, you've got the battle for 3rd place, you've got the battle for 5th place. It's all spread out at the moment as those 6 drivers sort of scrap out for those positions. As Sean starts to drop back slightly as he is on those soft tyres. Maybe they're starting to come to the end of their sell-by date, as Shaw here still trying to put some pressure on Recon as we make our way up towards turn 1. Once again, Sean actually comes into the pits then, so he's had enough of those soft tyres, and Lyronix there just completely missing turn 1 altogether. Why not? But he's got DRS there. No doubt he'll have seen a warning for that one. And Lyronix now making his way through turn 2 into the braking zone of turn 3. Will he go for a move up the inside? No, he won't. He'll back out of it and stay just behind for now, because he knows there's another DRS zone. He knows there's no point fighting in towards turn 3 there, as we've got a yellow flag somewhere out in sector 1. Not quite sure what that was, but I'm sure we'll investigate it if we get the chance. Oh, Lyronix almost running into the back of Spike there, having to lock up and take evasive action. He just carry too much speed in towards turn 4 there, and I wonder if he did make contact there. Can't quite see any damage to that front wing though.
No, it's one of those tricky ones there to keep an eye on. Not sure what the yellow flag into turn 1 was, unfortunately, as Recon picks up his first 3-second penalty. It will be 5 seconds he's already got. I was keeping an eye on Sean lane because I was trying to figure out just roughly what the time loss is from pit exit to exit to entry, basically, and it's about 19 seconds roughly as T-Roll pits from 6th place in the McLaren, so the Woken boys will go to work. But yeah, around about 18 to 20 seconds roughly for a pit stop here from entry to exit, and that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on, that time delta. At the moment, if the leaders work the pit, they would come out in 6th place, as the rest of the field are more than 20 seconds behind unless they had a mistake during the pit stop. So they're in a pretty good position, but they've still got at least another 4 or 5 laps, I would say, on those tyres before anything is due to happen for the medium runner, especially the top 4 on the medium. I expect Recon will be in before long. Those soft tyres will be a bit second hand by now, having done 13 laps. White has just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well, so that's not good for the race leader. He's being pushed very hard by the Renault of Warren, and that's just making him just go a little bit too far to the track limits, and that could come back to bite him later on in the race. We'll need to see how that one plays out. We're on to lap 14 of 36. We are, well, pretty much a few laps away and fast approaching halfway distance. Lyronix is headed for pit lane, so the first of the medium runners. I'm surprised they're this early. Lap 15, Warren was saying in the chat, around about lap 20, so you'd imagine it's going to be the hard tyres going on here. No, it's the soft tyres, so he could go to the end, but that's 21 laps on the soft tyres. I think that's a stretch and could possibly be a push for a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a call to go on the 2-stop strategy to try and be a bit more aggressive on the tyre wear, so we'll see how that goes for Lyronix. You know, he's going to try and do something different, because White and Warren here started, of course, on those medium tyres. They have the choice to go onto the hard tyres and make it a 1-stop, so maybe Lyronix is thinking just to go and try something different. But the battle for the lead is hotting up. 0.4 of a second is the gap between it. As well as that, we've got the battle for 5th place. We've got 3 cars running close in tandem. Recon, who's just exited the pits there, is now challenging Sean down towards turn 4 around the outside. And Sean, who pitted in for those hard tyres, is now overtaken by Recon. And of course, he did have that 5-second stop go penalty that he had to serve in his pit stops. That's why he emerged behind Sean and 5 seconds behind everybody else, really. 5 seconds maybe down the road from where he should be. However, he's got to keep focused now. Charlie is the next person in his sights. Meanwhile, Troy here trying to go side by side now with Nexus Iceman in towards turn 9, and he's got the move done. And I don't think Iceman put up too much of a fight there with the driver on fresher tyres, but still, for Traw to put that much faith in Iceman shows the quality of these drivers right now. Now it's two teammates, Lighty, who's on used medium tyres, Traw, who's on fresh hard tyres here. Are there going to be a bit of team orders here? Will Lighty put up a battle with Traw? It doesn't look like it because he's backed off here in towards turn 3, and he's got to be careful here that he doesn't expose himself to Iceman behind. You can see that he's up to 4th gear actually there to try and reduce the wheel spin. That might be because the rear tyres are just starting to give up the ghost right now as he makes his way now down towards turn 4, and he hasn't lost too much time to the Red Bull behind him. Meanwhile, Sean there challenging Charlie down towards turn 4, and again Charlie doesn't make too much of a battle out of that one, and he just rather lets the Ferrari go and fight another day and fight another battle.
Yeah, that's 2 places Charlie's just lost in the 1 lap. Recon got him on the way up towards turn 3 with the DRS, and then Sean's done the exact same, but both of they guys on fresh tyres. Interesting to see. Obviously no surprise in Recon being on the medium tyre. Sean has gone onto the hard compound tyre, as has T-Raw, who's now in 5th position, so they could go run to the end. The tyres will be a bit second hand, but they're more likely to last to the end of the race. Lyronics, as we said, is pushing it. If you have a look at the intervals, he's 17 seconds behind the lead pair at the moment, so at this point in time, Lyronics, you would imagine, will take the lead of the race when the top 3 pit, around about 18 to 20 seconds, as I said earlier on. It's 17 seconds and dropping with each lap, so the championship leader's gone aggressive. He's pushing like absolute hell to try and get that gap down and see if he can then make a late stop later on, probably another set of soft compound tyres, and see if he can make some moves at the end of this race on those drivers who are going to be on tyres a little bit past the sell-by date. The top 3 have carried on for another lap now. They're on to lap 18, so they've done 17 laps in these medium tyres. Spike's there in striking distance, 2.5 seconds back from them, so he's not too far off the pace, but we need to keep an eye on Ironics as time goes on once these guys pits, because he needs to get the hammer down, and he definitely has a 1:07.333 from the Racing Point driver, and that is at least, I believe, about half a second quicker than anybody else's fastest lap at this point in time.
Yeah, he's showing some intent there, and meanwhile the battle for the lead is approaching the halfway mark as White's still leading here from pole position. He hasn't really had much to think about, but Warren has been there for the last 5, 6, 7 laps, so he's had him in his rear view mirrors there, as we see Recon there making a move on Iceman there into turn 3, and again Iceman I don't think put up too much of a fight there. He knows he's on medium tyres, he knows he's on a different strategy, so he's not going to try and battle with the Haas there, and Charlie there actually now battling away with Sean then as we head now down towards turn 4. This is Sean now trying to go round the outside, and in towards turn 5 they go, on towards turn 6. They're still battling away, these two, and Sean there loses out to Charlie. So did Sean make a mistake, or is Charlie putting up a fight here?
I think he made a mistake possibly, because he was about 1.5 seconds clear, I believe, having passed a lap and a half ago. I would be very surprised, no offence to Charlie, I know he's a good racer, but 17 lap mediums aren't going to be on the same grip level as 5 lap fresh hard tyres, so I think Sean maybe made a small mistake there that allowed the Alpha a chance to come back, but Charlie fighting for what he can do, despite the fact he is on those harder, older tyres at this point in time. We're still waiting on a number of pit stops. The top 3 are still to pit, 7th, 8th and 9th are still to pit, as Iceman has a move there on Lighty, but then Lighty doing the same thing back and getting the move done. These two having a bit of a ding-dong up towards turn 3 and back down towards turn 4. The Red Bull now has got the DRS. Charlie and Sean fighting again. Lighty's going to hold off Nexus Iceman. Sean now, though, with the DRS, is going to get past the Alpha, and he's going to finally retake over 9th position there at the moment. The only other driver still to stop at the moment is Alan
Lighty
Kay.
Lighty around at turn 6 there. Not sure if there was contact between himself and Iceman there, but the back end just let go. Bit of a half spin there for the German in the McLaren, and he's fallen all the way now down to 10th place. So a real stickler of a move for Lighty, then all the way now down onto that last point scoring position. As I said, from the angle I had, it's very difficult to see if there was contact, but Lighty now makes the late decision to come into the pits and change off of those soft tyres. He's got to get that braking zone right. Yellow flags in sector 2 here, as I'm not quite sure who that was, but whatever it was. The yellow flag is cleared now. There is Spike in third place, by the way, in the Mercedes, as Warren trying to chase down second, or first place I should say. The gap is now 0.8 of a second, so these medium tyres are starting to near the end of their life at the moment. And what tyres now do the drivers and the top runners go for? Because they're on the medium tyres now, and it's how long they can make the medium tyres work. We've already seen that these soft tyres really past lap 12 or 12 laps, 13 laps, they start to struggle. So even on a lighter fuel load, we're expecting 14 laps out of them. So these drivers are going to have to take these tyres, a couple more laps yet before they can go and even think about the soft tyres.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, obviously we know all these guys are pretty good, but in that situation, I would be keeping an eye on Spike. As was mentioned, we know we can keep an eye on the tyres, and making a set of soft tyres last will be something that he would be able to do. The gap between Lyronix and fourth and the top runners of White and Warren is down to 12, just under 13 seconds now. So he's closed in from, since he made his pit stop 6 laps ago, he's gained around about 6 to 8 seconds in those 6 laps, doing exactly what he needs to do. He basically needs to, as I said, hammer time, put the foot down and basically use all the life in these tyres, because there was no way coming in on lap 15 that he was going to make soft tyres go to lap 36, and if he did, then he's an absolute genius in driving it somehow, because that's just far too long. Warren is the first of the leaders. In fact, Spike's followed him in, so he's decided to cover the Renault off. So second and third into pit lane. The race leader goes on for another lap on those older tyres, and yep, it's soft tyres for both the Renault and the for the Renault and the Mercedes. As they come back out of pit lane, they should easily still be ahead of T-Raw and Recon, who are just coming across the finish line now. So the Renault's easily out ahead, and Spike should be able to come out ahead as well. Coming out, there he is, yes, so he holds on to 4th position, and T-Raw stays in 5th, Recon in 6th place. So you've got to expect White's going to be in this lap. 22 laps that we've done on those medium tyres, and now with 14 to go, he's going to at least have 1 lap better tyres than the other 2 drivers around him. It's still anybody's guess. These 3 have been pretty close together, and with Lyronix rolling the dice, this one's going to go to the flag.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not often you have to wait 22 laps to see the race order, and it's going to be delayed a little bit more as White comes into the pits now from the lead of the race, and what I can only assume will be a set of soft tyres. They'll be ready and waiting for him, and on go those Red Bull soft tyres. Away goes White then, so there is Lyronix, who is passing a back marker then up towards turn 1 now. Looks like he's going to take the lead, but what about the rest of them? Warren will now go through to take second place. Is that as White now makes his way on towards the pit lane exit? And yes, look how powerful that undercut was, because that gap is now up to 1.8 seconds, and it's going to continue to rise, because of course the compromised exit out of the pit lane means that the gap is just going to increase there. So it's now up to 2 seconds, 2 seconds worth on the undercut. It will be more than that, because of course Warren was about 8/10 behind, so almost 3 seconds the difference there. Meanwhile, Traw and Recon battling away in towards turn 3, by the way. Traw on the hard tyres, Recon on the mediums, as they make their way now down towards turn 4, and Traw with the DRS able to stay ahead of the Haas right now. They were really much side by side out of turn 3, with one of them onto the curbing there, as this battle between the McLaren and the Haas looks like it's going to continue on. 14 laps to go, and finally your first rundown of the race. Lyronix currently leads, but he's on a different strategy. It's Warren in 2nd, White there in 3rd, with Spike in 4th, Traw in 5th, Recon there in 6th, Iceman 7th, Sean in 8th, Yuzi in 9th, Lighty is in 10th place, Graham in 11th, Charlie 12th, Mays in 13th, Crazy Legs in 14th, Alan Kay into the pits in 15th, and George is our only retirement as of yet. Here we're running on board with Recon then, as we make our way up towards turn 1. Again, Recon with that DRS here. Look at the way he uses that curve on the left hand side to try and open up the corner to carry a little bit more speed through. Once again, he's got the DRS now. He's got such a good run on Traw here as he moves to the left hand side. He'll be on the outside here up towards turn 3, but it looks like he's got the move done already. Now Traw, oh no, they've both gone over. They've both overrun the corner. They've both outbraked themselves. Unbelievable. But Traw then manages to find his way back through, and in a momentary lapse of concentration for both drivers, they both missed their braking points for turn 3.
Yeah, just both battling so hard, they just didn't realise how close to the corner they were. T-Raw nearly followed Rico off in sympathy. He went that far off, he nearly ended up in Germany for crying out loud, but managed to at least avoid any contact, and they both carry on to fight another day. I've just been having a look at the bit of the, the sort of gaps, etc. at the moment, and the more I look at this two-stopper that we're expecting out of Ironics, it's not going to work, I don't think, because at the moment, if he pits, he's going to come out down in 6th place behind the battle between T-Raw and Recon, as Recon goes to the inside now for turn number 1. He's finally going to get the move done, squeezes the McLaren slightly to the outside, and he's got DRS to defend here as well, going up the hill just for added extra benefit. The McLaren's going to tell you what, that McLaren's got a bit of straight line speed in it. Will they get the brakes right this time? Into turn number 3, wheel to wheel they go, and they get that done. Meanwhile, Sean's having a battle now with Iceman, who's still not pitted yet, has the Red Bull. 24 laps he's done on those medium tyres, down in 8th place, so he's really running long. But yeah, back to Ironics. If he comes out now, he's going to come out in 6th behind Recon and T-Raw, and he's going to have about, say, 10 to 8 laps to make up nearly 20 seconds. That's going to be too much in terms of winning the race, as Ironics does go into the pits, so he's gone in now. He's maybe heard me and realised that he needs to do something now, so this is where we're going to find out. But I think this is going to be a bit too much of a mountain to climb, unless the soft tyres for the likes of Warren, White and Spike go off an absolute cliff in the last couple of laps. That's going to be the benefit he needs there. But Ironics dropping down to 6th place as he makes his 2nd stop of the race.
Yeah, we just see Charlie there in towards turn 4, making a move on Graham. That's for 11th place. So now the Alpha can try and close in on Lighty ahead on 3 laps. Is the gap between those two tyres, but Warren here 1.6 ahead of White, so that gap has come down slightly from the 2 seconds that it was when these two pitted in just a couple of laps ago. Of course, Warren tried the undercut, and at the moment the undercut has given Warren at least 2.5 seconds advantage right now. And of course, I don't know about Warren's penalty, but I haven't seen him pick one up yet, unless I've completely missed it.
He has.
Oh, he has?
No, he has. He's picked it. According to my tally that I've got, I'm going to go and check the actual race director shortly. Warren has 1, White has 1. So these guys at current are racing as is on track. They've got the same amount of penalties. Spike's just there, picked up his 2nd off the race, so that could come back to get him later on. Recon's got 2 as well. T-Raw's got 2 also. So most of them have got 2, but the top 2 are only on 1 3-second penalty each, so they're basically cancelling each other out at the moment. It's not going to cause too much of problems. As you can see, you're watching Crazy Legs fly by Maze into turn 4 using DRS there just a moment ago, so that's him up to 13th place. He got his race ruined on lap 1, not sure what happened, but pitted at the end of lap 1 and had to replace his front wing, and that completely ruined the race for him. He's now made a 2nd stop recently as well, so he's now in the soft tyres, trying to see if he can get himself back towards the top 10. Ironics just going past on the McLaren, the T-Raw there, so 17 seconds it was when he came out of pit lane with 10 laps to go. My maths isn't too great, but that's at least 1.5 seconds a lap. It's a tall order, and you've got to pass 5 other cars at the same time, so it could still be a podium here for Ironics, which would be, at least 1 place better than where he started in P5. So he started in P3, sorry. So he's trying to get back to there. It's an aggressive strategy. He's rolled the dice, but unless the tyres for the front lot go off, I think it's just going to be a mountain too high, which is quite apt considering we are in Styrian.
Well, the challenge for Ironics is to try and get past Recon. We've seen Recon make a mistake out of turn 1 there, not get the traction right at all there, and Ironics is able to close more and more. Let's see what the gap is like at that DRS detection point. It's still over 1 second, so down towards turn 4, Ironics won't have the DRS. Here's where I'm proven wrong, but no, he doesn't have the DRS there. But as soon as he gets past Recon, if he can get past Recon, he's got clear air towards Spike. He's got 10 seconds to make up. He'll be on his own there, so if he can get past Recon, he's still got a chance here at a podium.
Yeah, he's definitely still got a chance at a podium. He would need to really get by Recon pretty quickly and disappear fast if he wants to have any inclination of trying anything towards the top two. But I do think they're going to be a bit out of reach as Crazy Legs sweeps to one side then to the other as he goes past Graham for 12th position. Those fresh, soft compound tyres working an absolute treat. But the Haas has ran wide just like his Dutch teammate Recon did a few laps ago with T-Raw, and now drafting their way down to turn 4. Squeezed to the inside as the Toro Rosso, despite not having DRS. The Haas holds on to that position, and Recon's got himself down, and Lyronix drafting his way up the hill through the curve for turn 2 up to turn 3. DRS made that pretty simple. Recon's going to fight up the inside. Oh, goodness me, I thought he was going to T-bone the Racing Point car there, but the championship leader is through and up in the 4th place, so the gap is 10 seconds to Spike and it's nearly 17 seconds to the race leaders, so he's really aiming for P3 here. You know, I would say 10 seconds he's got to make up, and what's that, 7 laps if you include the one they're on as well. He's got to get a move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, lap 29, and we believe all scheduled stops have been completed. So let's have a rundown with now 7 laps to go. Warren leads then. White is in 2nd. Spike in 3rd. Lyronix in 4th. Recon is in 5th. Traw there in 6th. With Sean in 7th. Yuzi in 8th. Lighty there running in 9th. Iceman rounding out the points right now. Charlie in 11th. Crazy Legs is on a bit of a charge here. He's in 12th place. A late charge from him. Graham in 13th. Mays is in 14th. And Alan Kay is running in 15th place. Of course, we lost George early on in this race after he lost the back end at turn 1. He's the only retirement so far. Running on board with Warren then as he makes his way down towards turn 4. Well, it's his debut, and I don't want to say anything too soon, but he said he was going to be happy with top 7. I think he's going to be ecstatic right now.
Yeah, I would definitely be if you know, going to possibility of finishing on the podium, and even as the race winner. A little bit of an update as well. Don't want to take the tension out of the race, but White has picked up another 3-second time penalty as well.
And Crazy Legs is around at turn 9. He's lost a huge chunk of front wing, and that late charge he was on to try and get a point is now well and truly over, as he now limps back to the pit lane. Such a huge shame for Crazy Legs. He was looking really good there to try and challenge for that 1 point. It would have been a tall order, but it looked like he was on his way to try and meet it. But a front wing change puts a dent in those hopes, and I think Iceman can breathe a huge sigh of relief there. You never want to wish ill of your rivals and teammates or anything like that, but not seeing that Haas eat away into that gap will provide him with a huge sigh of relief there.
Yeah, definitely so. As, he's got Charlie now 7 seconds behind, so if he can keep that last point could be his. He's nearly within DRS and Light-D, so 2 points could be on the table as well for Iceman. He's got 6 laps better tyres than the McLaren up ahead, so he's definitely closing in. As I was saying before, that incident there with Crazy Legs, White has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so he needs to pass the Renault and get 3 seconds up the road if he wants to win this race. So unless that Renault makes another mistake to kind of balance out the time penalties at least, this one could be going to the Renault driver at TTD1 on his debut at the moment. We're at lap 32-36, that's 5 to go then if you include the one they're on, and that Red Bull running wide there out of turn 1. And you just wonder, does he maybe push the tyres a bit too hard? Maybe starting to struggle, or is he just pushing it too hard into the turn? It's hard to tell. Nearly within DRS range, it's 1.1 seconds. You can see it pretty much on the screen if you're looking at it just now. But yeah, at the moment, Warren's got the advantage in terms of penalties as well.
Absolutely, and it is literally by 3 seconds, so White's got a mountain to climb here. He's got to try and get past Warren and then try and get 3 seconds clear. All Warren has to do is keep it between those white lines, and he might be on course here for a debut victory. Of course, don't say that, Andy, because I know what you're like with the curse of the commentator. At the moment then, with just over 4 laps to go, it's looking good for Warren. Meanwhile, Iceman here has been closing in on Lighty for the last couple of laps here, and it looks like he's trying to make a move on the McLaren of Lighty as they make their way through turn 2 and up towards turn 3. You can see Lighty trying to break the slipstream to the Red Bull behind him as they make their way in towards turn 3 now. Yellow flag in sector 3 and then to sector 1. I think that's just the back marker getting out of the way with how quickly those yellow flags are clearing. But here is Iceman now making his way now down towards turn 4, and again, Lighty just placing his car in exactly the right place. And meanwhile, the challenge for the lead has really spiced up because it was a second. Now it's down to half a second. White has come alive there in these last couple of laps. He knows it's now or never. He knows he's got 3 seconds to make up at least. He knows he's got to try and do something now. He needs this position to try and even get a chance of grabbing a race win. 4th in the championship right now. He needs these points. He really needs them to keep that championship going as we now make our way in towards turn 7, then to the right-hander of turn 8. We only have about 3 and a bit laps to go if you're picky. And as we make our way over the crest, down towards turns 9 and then through turn 10, whose heart rate is higher right now? Warren defending or White knowing he's got to clear Warren by 3 seconds? Oh, Warren's lost the back end!
It's going to be the Red Bull.
Warren's lost the back end, and a front wing end plate's come off of the Renault. I don't believe it. Lost the back end, lost the concentration, and that is the right hand end plate of Warren off the car. Now is the chance for Warren to try and get past White and then try and park the bus. But look at this, it's not going to be enough. As Warren here makes his way up towards turn 3 now. He's still got another bout of DRS to go down the hill towards turn 4, but he'll be absolutely gutted with that one. Worn soft tyres, a broken front wing. Now comes the time where White needs to build that gap. A wounded car behind. He's now got to clear Warren by 3 seconds, and he's got 3 laps to do it.
Yeah, just the absolute worst time ever to make a mistake and to end up with wing damage. You can see it on the right hand side of the car, the end fence completely gone. At the same time that happened, Iceman made his way past Lighty in the other Red Bull, putting himself into 9th place. That was a move with DRS into turn number 3, so the Red Bulls having a pretty good lap there as they both moved up a place. You can see how much that front wing though is hurting the Renault, because White is already nearly 2 seconds up the road. And that's going to be handling like an absolute shopping trolley at the moment. It's going to be understeering like absolute crazy, that Renault, into the turns, especially going into turns 6 and 7 and then 9 and 10, the ones where you really need the downforce to help you get the power down. And it's still going to be a good debut, you know, should still finish on the podium hopefully for the Renault driver, but it'd be within fingertip moments of possibly taking the victory and having the advantage in terms of time penalties. He's going to be absolutely gutted with that at the end. White has picked up an absolute Christmas gift, and it's only August at the moment, but he's still got a lap and a bit. He's 2 and a bit seconds, nearly 2.5 seconds, so he should be able to do it as long as he doesn't pick up another penalty. That could make for interesting moments, but at the moment it's going to be right to the flag, as we said. But it looks like it's going to be the Red Bull of White that's going to pick up the victory, and it'll be his first victory of the season as well, if he makes it round the last 2.683 miles of the Red Bull circuit.
Absolutely, and what a start for Red Bull this will be as they start the final lap of the race. A Red Bull is leading at the Red Bull ring. White on pole position in this one, and he's now extended that gap to 3.2 seconds. What's important now is if he keeps it between those white lines, just go conservative, White. But trying to tell White to go conservative, it's like talking to a brick wall. It's not going to happen. As we watch on board now as he makes his way down towards turn 4 for the final time here in Austria. You can hear the crowd on their feet already as he makes his way now down towards turn 4. 3.5 seconds now is the gap. Every race he started, he finished 3rd in round 3 at Spain. He finished 2nd at round 2 in Shanghai. The only piece that was missing on that mantelpiece was a race win, and he's got less than half the circuit to go now. Through turn 7, through that kink of turn 8 now, and over the crest, down it again. 3.9 the gap is now as he makes his way towards the final 2 corners. White here looks like he's going to take his first race victory of the season. Rounds the final corner, the checkered flag waves. White wins in the Red Bull ring here in Austria. A fantastic race, full of drama, right to the flag. Warren on his debut there, picking up 2nd place. That's not a bad feat at all whatsoever. Spike crossing the line in 3rd, but he's beaten by Lyronics on penalties. So championship leader may not have had the star-studded race he wanted, but he still gets a podium. That could decide a championship here. Recon crossing the line in 5th place. Traw crossing the line in 6th. There is Sean there, and it seems to be a trend for him recently this season. He just ends up in a race of his own, still though in 7th place, and he makes his way through the final couple of corners. We've actually got a battle here between the Toro Rosso of Yuzi and the Red Bull of Nexus Iceman as we make our way through the final couple of corners. Sean's going to cross the line, he'll finish in 7th place. The battle for 8th though still to be decided. Looks like a little bit of understeer through turn 9 there for Iceman, and it is going to finish 8th and 9th there as Yuzi crosses the line, and next Iceman jumps Yuzi then for the 8th place there. So Iceman 8th, Yuzi 9th, Lighty crosses the line in 10th place. We're just waiting for Charlie now to cross the line, and he does finish in 11th place. Alan Kay crosses the line in 15th. But your winner here in the Red Bull, at the Red Bull wing, White takes his first race win of the season.
Yeah, the cans will be plenty of them tonight as Red Bull win in their own backyard, with White finally picking up that victory. As you say, it was the only missing piece of the jigsaw. It'll be interesting to see how that makes an effect to the championship standings when we get everything confirmed. But I feel so sorry for Warren there in second. He'd done everything absolutely perfectly, and just one mistake, 3 laps to go, and my heart breaks. It would have been a heck of a debut. Still a fantastic debut. Started second, finished second. You're going to take that. You say to be happy with a top 7, but to be within striking distance of a victory, got to be absolutely gutted with that. White wins. It's Warren taking second, Lyronix getting third on penalties from Spike in 4th, Recon taking 5th position from starting down in 9th, T-Raw in 6th, Sean in 7th, Nexus Iceman 8th, and the other Red Bull having started down in 12th, Uzi in 9th, Lighty 10th, and it's Charlie in 11th. Maze, the only driver with no penalties during the entire race, so he picks up my coveted no penalty award today. Graham in 13th, Crazy Legs 14th. I feel sorry for Crazy. What could have been? A few mistakes. What if one hadn't happened? Who knows where he could have been? Alan Kay 15th for the last classified runner. Maze, Graham, Crazy Legs and Alan Kay all 1 lap down, and George, the only retirement from the race, was doing pretty well early on in the hard tyres, had to make an early pit stop due to some wing damage and then a spin out of turn 1, and he was the only DNF out of the 16 drivers here tonight. But White, I wonder, could that just maybe revitalise a possible challenge if he can keep that going? Who knows?
Absolutely, and one thing we didn't see, Andy, was who got the fastest lap. I don't know if you caught it right at the end there. I certainly forgot about it. We'll have to confirm who got that fastest lap point.
I will go back. Hold on, I will do that.
Okay,
give me a second.
Okay, all right. But yeah, we'll find out who had the fastest lap of the race and who gets that extra point there. Something's telling me it's going to be Lyronix, because of course he had that soft tyre stint towards the end there. Something tells me it's going to be Lyronix. Am I right, Andy?
No.
I'm not right.
I'm just making sure, but the fastest lap went to Warren, a 1 minute 6.309. Spike next up in a 1 minute 6.326. Lyronix was a 168. So the Renault driver not only getting second, but fastest lap as well in the race by about, what's that, about 4/100ths of a second roughly, something like that. So very, very close, but it's the Renault driver on his debut who picks up the additional point.
So he picks up that extra point. That means he scores 19 points here in Austria. But, well, we had a dramatic race, and it filled us with a lot of action. We could have had a late charge there from Crazy Legs to try and grab a point. We could have seen a debut win for our new driver Warren, but you know what, he said in the chat he'd be happy with top 7. I wonder if that's going to be a bittersweet prediction now, Andy.
Definitely so. I mean, when you're in a position with a few laps to go to win the race, to then, you know, where it be for driver error or the tyres going off, just catching them out or whatever it may be, it is definitely bittersweet. I'm sure he would have bit both hands off to take P2 at the start of the race, but to have been leading in the way he did, the undercut, as you say, was very powerful and just worked an absolute treat, got him ahead. White closed up in the closing stages, and that's when it happened. It was just the Red Bull in the right place at the right time. Did he force the mistake? Maybe. Who knows? But still a good debut. He finished start second, finish second, get a fastest lap as well. But that win was also close. It's going to be bittersweet for sure.
Absolutely, and Andy, I don't know if you did it last time out, but I'm feeling like a corner where we can sit in, you know.
Yes, there was one in Canada because I was shattered. So I foregoed Commentator's Corner last time, plus it doesn't feel right unless it's the pair of us sometimes, I think. But there you go, that's my own opinion.
Oh, there you go then. So that must mean we must have it. We have to have it, Andy. Of course, if you're new to TTL F1 and you want to take part in Commentator's Corner, all you have to do is stay in the lobby after the race and you'll get an invite. It's as simple as that. If you want to have a chat with us, we'll be happy to have you in this commentary box. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following the league on Twitter at TTL_F1. You can follow me whilst you're there as well. It's at KSMCGF1, and you can follow Andy whilst you're there as well.
Yes, you can indeed. It's Andy81287, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. This Commentator's Corner coming up is on a separate stream, so just keep an eye out in a wee moment.
Hit that notification bell to get you notified when we go live with Commentator's Corner. We'll see you in a couple of minutes' time.